You stayed drunk for for the first 30, 35 years of your life, and then you got to know the cutoff time, and then you're just kind of preserved.
Don Johnson built a global empire on the image of the ultimate lone wolf. The sun-soaked icon of cool who always got the girl and always worked alone. But the most dangerous, complex, and defining role he ever played was one the world rarely saw father to 5 children with 3 different women across 4 turbulent decades of fame. So what really happened to the heirs of this Hollywood dynasty long after the cameras stopped rolling? Welcome. You clicked on this video because you, like us, were curious about the legacy of a Hollywood legend. In this deep dive documentary, we are going to pull back the curtain on the lives of all 5 of Don Johnson's children. We will uncover who they are, the incredible pressures they faced, growing up under one of the most famous names in entertainment, and where their individual journeys have taken them today, from international superstardom to a life deliberately hidden from the public eye. We've spent weeks digging through decades of archived interviews and public records to piece together the truly untold story of the Johnson heirs. This isn't just a simple "where are they now" list. This is an in-depth exploration of the privilege, the price, and the reality of growing up Johnson. So strap in. The story is far more complex than you ever imagined. Number 5. The firstborn, the son of the wild years. Every dynasty has its beginning. And for the Johnson dynasty, it starts not with the glitz of Miami Vice, but in the haze and chaos of 1970s Hollywood, with a son born at the absolute peak of his father's wild years. What happens when your first lesson in life is watching your father navigate the treacherous waters of newfound fame? His name is Jesse Wayne Johnson, born December 7th, 1982. His mother is the actress and model Patty D'Arbanville, a prominent figure in the Andy Warhol scene and a star in her own right. Their relationship was a whirlwind romance, emblematic of the era, passionate, intense, and ultimately volatile. Jesse was born into the eye of this storm. Before Don Johnson became the global icon of Miami Vice, he was a working actor with a notorious reputation as a Hollywood bad boy. This was the environment that shaped Jesse's earliest years, a world of auditions, late-night parties, and the constant vibrating hum of ambition and uncertainty. He wasn't the son of a stable, established star. He was the son of a man on the electrifying, precarious climb to the top. Growing up, Jesse was in many ways the spitting image of his father. He inherited the chiseled jawline, the intense gaze, and that undeniable smoldering charisma. In the world of Hollywood genetics, it was a jackpot. But it was also a blessing and a curse. The striking resemblance was an open door, a way to get into rooms others couldn't. But it also cast an incredibly long, permanent shadow. How do you forge your own identity when you look in the mirror and see a younger version of a man the entire world not only knows, but has defined as the epitome of cool? It's a question Jesse has spent his life answering. He chose to walk the path his father had blazed, pursuing a career in acting. He started with smaller roles, learning the craft away from the immediate blinding glare of the spotlight that his half-sister Dakota would later command. In a move that was both a nod to his lineage and a genuine apprenticeship, he appeared in shows like Nash Bridges alongside his father. It was a chance to learn directly from the man whose legacy he was navigating. He went on to land roles in films like the action-packed Red Line and the cult favorite TV series From Dusk Till Dawn. He became a working actor respected for his dedication and professionalism. But acting, it turned out, wasn't his only creative outlet. Perhaps in search of a voice that was purely his own, Jesse was drawn to music. Like his father, who had a brief but memorable music career in the 80s, Jesse is a talented singer, songwriter, and musician. His work, which he often shares online, is soulful, raw, and deeply personal. It feels less like a performance and more like a confession. It is here in his music that you sense a man trying to articulate his own journey, his own story, completely separate from the larger-than-life narrative of his father. In an industry that thrives on drama, Jesse Johnson's story is notably free of major scandals. He has managed to live a relatively private life, skillfully avoiding the very public pitfalls that have consumed so many children of celebrities. His challenge, his real, untold story, is not about battling addiction or controversy, but about the quiet, lifelong struggle of definition. To the world, he is constantly and primarily Don Johnson's son. It's a label that brings undeniable privilege, but also a relentless, often unspoken comparison. Therefore, Jesse's greatest achievement is not just his career in film and music. It's his ability to navigate that complex identity with a quiet grace. He has built a life on his own terms, showing deep respect for the legacy he comes from, while carving out a space that is uniquely his. He maintains a close relationship with his father and all of his half-siblings, often seen as the steady grounding anchor for the sprawling Johnson clan. Jesse laid the foundation, the first child to navigate the labyrinth of a Hollywood legacy. But if his journey was a quiet, introspective study in identity, the next child born into the Johnson clan would become a global headline, a daughter born not just to one superstar, but to a Hollywood power couple, creating a perfect storm of fame, expectation, and breathtaking rebellion. Number 4. The superstar, the daughter of Hollywood royalty. Some children are born into fame, others are born into a supernova. When Don Johnson and Melanie Griffith, two of Hollywood's most beautiful, most volatile, and most talked-about stars, reunited in a famously tempestuous relationship, they created a nexus of celebrity so intense it was destined to produce something extraordinary. This is the story of the daughter who didn't just inherit the spotlight, she bent it to her will. Dakota Mayi Johnson, born October 4th, 1989, was never going to have a normal life. It was a statistical impossibility. Her father was Don Johnson, by then a global television icon. Her mother was Melanie Griffith, an Oscar-nominated actress and the star of films like Working Girl. Her grandmother was the legendary Tippi Hedren, the icy blonde muse of Alfred Hitchcock's masterpiece, The Birds. To complete this almost surreal picture, her stepfather for much of her childhood was the Spanish superstar Antonio Banderas. Dakota grew up on movie sets, in trailers, and on red carpets. For her, the extraordinary was simply the ordinary. In candid interviews later in life, she has painted a picture of a nomadic and often profoundly lonely childhood. With her parents' demanding careers and their famously turbulent on-again, off-again relationship, she found stability in the most unlikely of places, the structured professional chaos of a film production. She has spoken about feeling like the most sane person in her wildly unconventional family, a child who had to grow up far too quickly. This chaotic upbringing forged in her a fierce independence and a sharp, witty, and often guarded personality that the public finds so endlessly fascinating today. Her entry into the family business felt almost inevitable. She made a small debut in the 1999 film Crazy in Alabama, which her mother starred in and her stepfather directed. But she didn't immediately rocket to fame. Her parents insisted she finish her education before pursuing acting full-time. So she modeled, she took acting classes, and she went on countless auditions, facing the same demoralizing rejection as any other aspiring actress. She landed small but memorable roles in critically acclaimed films like David Fincher's The Social Network and comedies like 21 Jump Street. She was slowly, deliberately building a resume, proving that she was more than just her famous last name. And then came 50 Shades of Grey. The role of Anastasia Steele was a cultural phenomenon and a career-altering gamble. It was the kind of role that could have destroyed a young actress's career, branding her forever in a genre often dismissed by critics. The films were, as expected, critically divisive, but they were a colossal, world-conquering commercial success. In a flash, Dakota Johnson was launched into a stratosphere of fame that even her globally famous parents had rarely experienced. She was suddenly one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. The pressure was immense. She handled the relentless global press tours with what would become her signature style, a disarming blend of awkward charm, razor-sharp wit, and a clear, palpable discomfort with the invasive nature of her newfound celebrity. She was a star who seemed allergic to stardom. But the most compelling part of Dakota's story, the true untold part, is what she did after the 50 Shades trilogy concluded. Instead of cashing in on a string of easy blockbusters, she made a hard, deliberate pivot towards independent, character-driven cinema. She actively sought out complex, challenging, and often dark roles that would force the public and the industry to see her in a new light. She worked with acclaimed international directors like Luca Guadagnino in the sensual thriller A Bigger Splash and the terrifying horror remake Suspiria. She delivered a stunning, deeply vulnerable performance in Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Lost Daughter, earning some of the best reviews of her career. This was not a fluke. It was a calculated act of an artist taking complete control of her own narrative. She was refusing to be defined by a single role. She was proving to the world, and perhaps more importantly to herself, that she was not just a product of nepotism. She was a serious, formidable actress with a unique and powerful voice. Her version of a scandal is not one of tabloid gossip, but one of radical honesty. In an industry that often demands a perfect facade, she speaks openly and articulately about her lifelong struggles with depression. She champions the benefits of therapy. She discusses the complexities of her upbringing with a frankness that is both refreshing and rare. Today, she has built an empire of her own. She has founded a production company, Tea Time Pictures, to champion new voices and tell the kinds of stories she wants to see in the world. She has cultivated a life that is both intensely public in its demands and fiercely private in its details, particularly her long-term low-key relationship with Coldplay frontman Chris Martin. Dakota Johnson's story is a masterclass in navigating Hollywood royalty. She embraced her lineage without letting it define her, used a controversial blockbuster as a launchpad for an authentic and respected career, and has become a powerful and intriguing figure entirely on her own terms. Dakota's global fame solidified the Johnson name for a new generation. But as she was conquering Hollywood, Don Johnson's own life had entered a new, far more stable chapter. His marriage to Kelly Phleger would bring a different kind of life, and the children from this union would face a different kind of challenge, not the chaos of their father's early fame, but the quiet pressure of a picture-perfect image. And the first daughter from this union would take that image and walk it right down the world's most exclusive runways. Number 3, the model, the daughter of the new era. After the whirlwind romances and the screaming tabloid headlines, Don Johnson found lasting love with a former Montessori schoolteacher named Kelly Phleger. Their marriage in 1999 ushered in an era of unexpected stability and privacy for the aging star. But when your father is Don Johnson and your half-sister is Dakota Johnson, even a private life has a public face. Meet the daughter who stepped into the spotlight, not on a film set, but under the bright, unforgiving glare of the fashion world's Klieg lights. Her name is Grace Phleger Johnson, born on December 28, 1999. Grace grew up in a world far removed from the one her older siblings, Jesse and Dakota, had known. Don was older, more settled, and having seen the toll that fame had taken, he was fiercely protective of his new family. Grace and her younger brothers were raised primarily in Santa Barbara, a world away from the Hollywood frenzy. Their childhood was one of remarkable normalcy, filled with school sports and family life, albeit in the luxurious context of their father's immense success. Despite this protected and intentionally quiet upbringing, the pull of the family's genetic lottery was strong. Grace inherited a stunning, ethereal combination of her parents' good looks. She was tall, elegant, with striking features that seemed tailor-made for the world of high fashion. It wasn't a question of if the industry would notice her, but when. Grace Johnson soon embarked on a career as a professional model. She signed with major agencies like IMG Models and quickly began making a name for herself. She has walked in prestigious fashion shows, appeared in the glossy pages of magazines, and fronted campaigns for notable brands. Her look is versatile, allowing her to embody both all-American commercial aesthetics and the more avant-garde looks of high fashion. On her social media, she presents a carefully curated glimpse into her life, a sophisticated mix of professional modeling shots, artistic photos, and picture-perfect moments with her family and friends. Her story is fascinating because it represents a distinctly different path for a celebrity child in the 21st century. Unlike her sister Dakota, who uses her public platform to dissect her personal issues and challenge convention, Grace's public persona is more aesthetic and aspirational. It's perfectly in line with the culture of modern influencers and models. She is building a brand based on style, beauty, and a certain untouchable mystique. There is no public scandal associated with Grace. She is, by all accounts, a focused professional and well-grounded young woman. Her untold story lies in the subtle, skillful navigation of her identity in the age of the Nepo baby debate. Is she simply benefiting from her famous name? Or is she a talented individual who is intelligently using the platform she was born with to her advantage just as anyone in her position would? The truth is likely a combination of both. Her journey is also a powerful reflection of her father's own evolution. The Don Johnson of the 2000s, father to Grace, was a different man from the Don Johnson of the 80s, father to Dakota. Grace's quiet and professional rise in the modeling world is in a way a testament to the stable, supportive environment her parents successfully created for her. She is leveraging the Johnson name in a controlled, modern, and business-savvy way, building a career that is public but never invasive. With a model in the family, the Johnson legacy seemed secure, branching out into new arenas of influence. But Don's story as a father was far from over. His next two children, the sons of his longest and most stable marriage, would redefine what it meant to be a Johnson by making the most radical choice of all, consciously and deliberately avoiding the spotlight. Number 2. The private son. The boy who chose normalcy. In a family defined by fame, what is the ultimate rebellion? Is it acting out in public? Is it chasing even greater stardom than your parents? Or is it something far quieter, far more profound? Is it simply choosing to be normal? The story of Don Johnson's fourth child, his first son with Kelly Phleger, is a quiet mystery, a testament to the powerful allure of a life lived completely outside the frame. His name is Jasper Breckenridge Johnson, born on June 6, 2002. He grew up alongside his sister Grace and younger brother Deacon, cocooned in the bubble of privacy his parents fought so hard to maintain. While Jesse and Dakota were children of Hollywood, Jasper is a child of Santa Barbara and the sprawling family ranch in Aspen, Colorado. His life has been shaped not by film sets and red carpets, but by school nature and a close-knit, fiercely protective family unit. Unlike his three older siblings, who each found their way into the public eye, Jasper has shown absolutely no public interest in pursuing a career in entertainment. He does not have a public social media profile. He's not a model, an actor, or a musician. He is, for all intents and purposes, a private citizen. The world only ever catches fleeting glimpses of him in the background of his mother's family photos or in the occasional long-lens paparazzi shot, where he often appears as a tall, athletic young man who seems completely and utterly uninterested in the camera pointed his way. The untold story of Jasper Johnson is therefore a story told through his deliberate absence from the public record. His choice to remain private is in itself a powerful statement. It suggests a young man who saw the cost of fame up close through the lives of his father and older siblings and made a conscious decision that it wasn't the life for him. It speaks volumes about his parents' success in providing their younger children with a genuine choice, the choice to opt out of the family business of being famous. We can glean a little about his life from the periphery. He was reportedly a talented and dedicated basketball player in high school, a pursuit that is refreshingly wonderfully normal. He is now a college student, pursuing an education that will likely lead him down a path far away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. His life is a deliberate counter-narrative to the celebrity-obsessed world we live in. And his story poses a fascinating question. Is the greatest luxury of being a Johnson not the fame, the money, or the access, but the resources and security to be able to reject it all? Jasper's story is the quiet, powerful narrative of a boy who was given every opportunity to be famous and instead bravely chose to be himself. Jasper's choice of privacy set a new precedent for the youngest generation of Johnsons. And as the final child came of age, he would follow in his brother's footsteps, proving that the greatest legacy Don Johnson might leave is not a dynasty of stars, but a family of grounded individuals who know their own worth with or without the spotlight. Number 1, the youngest. The heir to a quiet legacy. The final chapter in Don Johnson's long and winding journey as a father is his youngest son. A boy growing up in the intense glare of the social media age, where privacy has become the ultimate luxury. He is the child who has benefited most from his father's wisdom, his life experience, and perhaps his past regrets. His story is the one that is still being written far from the prying eyes of the world. His name is Deacon James Johnson, born on April 29, 2006. He is the baby of the family with a significant 24-year age gap between him and his oldest brother, Jesse. By the time Deacon was born, Don Johnson was in his late 50s. He was a seasoned father who had experienced the dizzying highs and crushing lows of raising children in the public eye. As a result, Deacon's upbringing has been the most protected of all. He has been raised in the stable, loving, and fiercely private environment created by Don and Kelly. Like his brother Jasper, he has been kept almost entirely out of the public conversation. His life is one of school friends and family. Any photos of him that surface are usually from his mother's private social media accounts, or from family vacations where he appears as a happy, smiling, and well-adjusted teenager. The untold story of Deacon is in many ways the story of a father's redemption and evolution. Don Johnson has spoken candidly about the regrets he has from his younger, wilder years of not always being as present for his older children as he would have liked due to the relentless demands of his career and his own personal struggles. With his younger children, and particularly with Deacon, he has had the chance to be a different kind of father, more present, more engaged, and more protective than ever before. Deacon's future is an open book. Will he one day feel the pull of the arts, like his older siblings Jesse, Dakota, and Grace? Or will he pursue a private life of his own making like his brother Jasper? Whatever he chooses, he will do so from a foundation of stability that was perhaps less available to the children of his father's youth. In many ways, Deacon represents the culmination of all of Don Johnson's life lessons, both as a star and as a man. The 5 children of Don Johnson are a fascinating tapestry of modern celebrity. From a working actor and soulful musician, to a global superstar who redefined her own fame, a high-fashion model, building a modern brand, and 2 private young men who chose normalcy over the spotlight. They each reflect a different facet of their father's complex and enduring legacy. They are living proof that a family is not one single story, but 5 individual journeys, all branching from the same remarkable, complicated, and iconic tree. The Johnson family is a truly fascinating modern Hollywood dynasty, a story of survival and reinvention across generations. But they are far from the first. The immense pressures of fame, staggering fortune, and navigating a legendary last name are a tale as old as Tinseltown itself. But all the complexities we've discussed today might just pale in comparison to the tangled, tragic, and truly unbelievable legacy left by Hollywood's ultimate siren, Elizabeth Taylor. Before we even finished the script for this video, we were already deep in the archives for our next project, and what we found was shocking. Did you know that one of her sons was secretly adopted, a decision she made that her husband at the time, Eddie Fisher, only found out about after the fact? The full, almost unbelievable story of Elizabeth Taylor's 4 children is one you simply will not want to miss. Click the video on your screen right now to uncover that incredible, untold story. And as always, thank you for watching.